Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality coming back with you here today to go over something that I thought was actually kind of funny. From July 28th from Red State, it says, high drama in D.C. Kevin McCarthy and Eric Swalwell allegedly nearly threw down during Schiff censure debate. So this is kind of more of a secondhand sort of retelling of what supposedly happened, and frankly, I don't really care, but I just kind of thought, again, A, it was humorous, and B, if politicians are going to fight, well, hopefully they both lose. I don't care what side of the political spectrum they're on in that case. So there's the Speaker of the House. So let's go into the articles. As we all remember, the precious Democrat meltdowns that occurred during the run-up to Representative Adam Schiff's eventually getting censured by the House back in June over the repeated abuses of power he engaged in during his time as chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. And that was the correct decision to go ahead and do that to him. He just lied to people repeatedly about everything, and then he just didn't expect there to be consequences. And then when he was called on the floor for that, all the people that are on his side of the political aisle just went, "You guys shouldn't do that to him." So you're dumb if you think like they did. So as Red State readers will also recall, just months prior to that, newly minted House Speaker Kevin McCarthy also took aim at Schiff and his colleague, Representative Eric Swalwell, who I have referred to many times as one of the dumbest members of Congress. And he's not just that, but he's one of the dumbest human beings in the United States, if not the entire world today. Says both were effectively kicked off the Intelligence Committee, with McCarthy citing integrity as a major factor. And he said, I cannot put partisan loyalty ahead of national security, and I cannot simply recognize years of service as the sole criteria for membership to this essential committee. Integrity matters more, McCarthy noted at the time, with the emphasis on integrity and outraging Democrats, particularly Swalwell, in the process. Since then, Swalwell has been on a revenge campaign of sorts against McCarthy, overdoing what any self-respecting Republican leader would have done when faced with the same situation regarding a member of Congress on a powerful committee who was allegedly compromised by a Chinese honeypot. And yeah, if you remember that Eric Swalwell, who comes across to me just like, a football ex-jock guy that's just, I need to have power just to do it. It's like the stereotypical, thing you hear about, why this kid became a police officer is just to keep having, this semblance of power. That's, what Swalwell is. That's what he comes across to me, is, the football jock who just needed to keep this vision of power that he had in his head. So that's part of the reason why I think he's a complete dumbass too, is because he comes across like he just doesn't know anything at all. But the Chinese honeypot thing was that he was actually compromised. I wouldn't even say allegedly. I'd say he was compromised by a Chinese honeypot. I know they have to put allegedly there for legal reasons, but whatever. So yeah, it was this article from, it's another Red State thing. Yeah, so the article is linked in the description below. Click on that and you'll see what I mean. I'm not going to go into all the details here because this is about a fight between these two guys, or an almost fight between these two guys. Article goes on. So Swalwell has repeatedly criticized McCarthy's leadership, saying in so many words that McCarthy is there to do former President Donald Trump's bidding. And so what if he was? I don't think McCarthy is a huge Trump person anyway, but okay. Says while Swalwell is, of course, free to believe as he wishes. That's true. Says things allegedly escalated between both McCarthy and Swalwell on the day Schiff was censured. According to the stories of two unnamed Democrat members of Congress as reported by the Daily Beast, Swalwell called McCarthy a weak man on the House floor. So first of all, this is coming from the Daily Beast, which is a far left news source. So right there, my alarm bells are going, okay, this probably isn't really something that happened, because they do have a habit of, printing falsehoods. And then it's two unnamed Democrat members of Congress. Again, alarm bells are going off. So I'm at the point right now where I'm the likelihood of this actually happening is probably maybe no more than 10%. So yeah, I would say anything the Daily Beast prints, I would take with just a gigantic grain of salt. Not the largest grain of salt, but one that's sufficiently large enough to make you very uncomfortable. So the Daily Beast article says as the spectacle was taking place, one of the leaders of the demonstration, Representative Eric Swalwell, again, it shouldn't say D, California, it should say M for moron, was standing in the well of the House near the Speaker's podium and delivered some harsh words to his fellow Californian. This is pathetic, Swalwell allegedly told McCarthy, who was presiding over the House at the time. You're a weak man. Yes, he's a weak man for punishing a man who abused his power. Okay, yeah. So again, Eric Swalwell, you don't seem to understand the words and phrases that you're using. So again, this is why I call you a dumbass, because you are. So this is a 349 of the clip below. It's down here, which we're not going to play because my dumbass hasn't figured out how to get the audio to work on that, and plus that's way into it, but whatever. So you see Swalwell towards the center left of the screen pointing at McCarthy and calling him weak. and whatever, because Swalwell's a dumbass. We're going to skip over that. It says the following day is when things got more heated, according to the story, with McCarthy confronting Swalwell as he was heading to the bathroom. There's a language warning here. So the article says Swalwell was on the House floor making his way to a bathroom just outside the chamber on the Republican side. That's when McCarthy saw him. McCarthy said, "If you ever say something like that to me again, I'm going to kick the shit out of you," a member claimed to the Daily Beast. And again, I mean, okay, did this actually happen? I don't know. It doesn't seem like something. I mean, I've seen Kevin McCarthy and talk before, and that just seems very crass for him. So I don't know if that really happened. It says another member who witnessed the exchange provided even more context that they were in each other's faces. Oh, I can believe that. Basically nose to nose. And Swalwell said something like, "Are we really going to do this?" I would see this going the other way around, actually. I could see Swalwell being the one saying, "I'm going to kick the shit out of you," and McCarthy saying the one, "Are we really going to do this?" So after some back and forth with chest puffed out, McCarthy issued a challenge to Swalwell. Call me a pussy again and I'll kick your ass," the speaker allegedly said. Yeah, I just don't see him saying that. I'm sorry. There's both Democrat members who relayed the alleged story said that after a short standoff of sorts between the two, that Swalwell called him that again, and McCarthy glared at him for a few more moments before heading back to the House floor to greet Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who was there to speak before Congress. Well, according to the Daily Beast, the Democrats who shared this story said it was indicative of McCarthy's empty threats and ultimate weakness. One thing we have to remember here is that it's Democrats retelling what they say happened, so it likely includes a lot of embellishments and whatnot of Swalwell's performative buffoonery and meant to portray him as the bigger badass. Yeah, I would 100% agree with that statement. About as much as I can agree with anything, I'd agree with that statement. Swalwell, again, just seems like he's kind of the empty-headed jock that probably is much more bark than bite. He's not a guy I would legitimately be afraid of. But even if McCarthy did blow off Swalwell, supposedly repeating the taunt to him, one thing to keep in mind here is that McCarthy is also keenly aware of who holds the power in this scenario, and while he shouldn't abuse it, both he and Swalwell know if the opportunity presents itself again like McCarthy likely will exert it over Swalwell in full force, and he should. And I agree with that. He absolutely should. If this really did happen this way, and Swalwell is being a nonce and decided to, then there was that face-off, then, I mean, it's Swalwell that started it, as far as I'm concerned. What I see it here is that he's the one that started with the name-calling by calling McCarthy a weak man, and if McCarthy gets a chance to retaliate, go for it. I mean, it's Eric Swalwell. I don't think really many people are going to care. I'm not a purist when it comes to decorum, civility, and all that in Congress. As I've written before, Swalwell is, in my opinion, a bad faith actor, I would agree, and one whose actions mimic the tendencies we often see from obnoxious liars and obscene jerks. Great line, because that's true. There's worse, he wants to take away rights that are enshrined in the Constitution, and the way he goes about it is by trying to slime and smear his political opposition any way he can, whether on social media, MSNBC, or in a House hearing. I'm totally fine with Republicans playing hardball when it comes to people like Swalwell. What he advocates for would profoundly change America into the type of country she should never be, and his Republican counterparts in the House should not hesitate to rip him to shreds in the court of public opinion when he's practically begging for it. And he's been begging for it since being on this Intelligence Committee, and no one's done anything about it. So, yeah, I agree with that. So, in other words, when you act like a horse's patootie, you shouldn't be surprised when you get treated like one, Yep, I agree. I agree with everything in here. So, let me know what you guys think about this. Do you think, first, who do you think would win between Kevin McCarthy and Eric Swalwell? Probably Swalwell, because he's like 25 years younger. Maybe, I think. I don't know. I'm just guessing by thinking about what they look like. I mean, there's Kevin McCarthy, but I don't think there was a picture of Eric Swalwell anywhere in here, besides being somewhere in this thing. I mean, there's Adam Schiff, but whatever. Yeah, but Swalwell's not. I think he's in his 30s. But anyway, who do you think would win a fight? But also, what do you think about this? Do you believe the Daily Beast that this actually happened? Because I certainly don't, at least the way they say it. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon.